not about me, it's about you. So at the end of the day, if you make my job easy, it's going to be an early evening. All right. We can't stop technical difficulties, but we can work through them, and we have. So this weekend was pretty, I'm going to say it was pretty lively at first, right? We had a lot of things going on through free practice. We had a different format. We had our first time and our first real look at the sprint shootout format and how that was kind of going to feel to us. And not only that, how it was going to set up the sprint. Was it going to do anything different for us, the drivers or the teams? So real briefly, if you didn't watch the sprint shootout, if you really didn't know about it, let's go ahead and kind of get an understanding of what that format looked like. All right. So that format was pretty much this, exactly this. Okay. The sprint shootout inevitably was a full Q1, Q2, Q3 qualifying, but with some small nuances. 12 minutes in Q1. It went down and reduced to 2 more minutes in Q2, which made it 10 minutes. And then it reduced another 2 minutes in Q3, which gave them a total of 8 minutes to be their best that they could be and set these times. There was mandatory tire usage. You had mediums both in Q1 and Q2, and then you had softs in Q3. So if you saw that, I would like to know what you thought about that sprint format. Did you like the new sprint format? Did you agree with the tire allocations? Did you agree with the reduction of time throughout the qualifying sections? I can say that for myself, my opinion, I thought that it would have been better to incorporate the hard tire. Or I thought maybe they should incorporate a prototype tire to just throw more challenges in there. Also get some data on tires in the midst of the season and make it a little bit more for the drivers. Now, that in itself, it was okay. It was good. It was okay. I'll say it was okay. But I will say through free practice, because you only got one, and then qualifying set the grid Friday for Sunday, which the sprint did not affect that. Then on Saturday, we had the sprint shootout and then went into the sprint race later on that day. Charles and Ferrari, of course, quality kings as they showed last season, but were not able to kind of bring that into the actual season as far as race production. But it was good for Ferrari to do. Okay, it was good for them to do. Now, another soft topic, because we're starting off with some soft topics, warming up here so people can get in the chat, get into the audience, get warmed up, decide what they want to come on and say. Another soft topic is we had the issue as far as the pit lane situation, which involved Ocon and Alpine, but was not the cause. I don't like how the FIA wrote that up. I did a video about it. I talked about it. We went over the regulations and the articles and the appendix and the ISC that they quoted or stated in the write-up. I don't like how they worded that. How they worded it was pretty much they were leaving it at the fault of or kind of blaming BWT Alpine for what happened. All right. It said that the verbiage went this way. And you can go check out the video. The verbiage pretty much went like one team had not pitted. Ocon was pitting, and that caused an unsafe situation. That is not true. And that is not how that should have been written up. And the fact that the FIA wrote that up that way gave me the feeling that, again, they are unable to accept responsibility for what they are doing in Formula One. Again, we are unable to trust the FIA to be a decent or solid and consistent governing body. They have been consistently inconsistent. And even in this matter, when I reviewed the document, I showed you if they admit they did something wrong or they could have done something better, and that situation potentially could have been life-threatening or bodily injury could have been very bad, they did not even fine themselves. We have drivers being fined for speeding in pit lane in an excess of point-something kilometers an hour, and they're fining them. We also had in that race AlphaTauri with Yuki. We had them fined €5,000 for the fact that they released an unsafe car on track. So I do not see how the FIA did not find it reasonable to find themselves financially in the pocket, while as they find everybody else for situations that are unsafe. That right there is almost like the police policing the police. You can't trust in that. You can't trust in that. And to me, that was a bad situation, and I think they have to do better. So we want to go ahead and send a special congrats, because I'm going to start congratulating people from the YouTube channel on here as well. And I got to keep sight on that because I want to make sure I don't miss any super chats. And hopefully I'll have somebody in the live audience that will keep me abreast of that situation. But for the first time ever on our channel, we had not only somebody getting a VIP box, but they also won Quali Kickback Trivia and received a gift card, a Visa gift card. And that person was Freak Dogs Flair. Congratulations, Freaks Dog Flair, for getting that. Bro, you did an awesome job in Kickback Quali. You deserve your VIP box. More than happy to get it to you. So now let's get into another situation. We got another soft topic. Matter of fact, Will says he wants to get in on this soft topic, and I'm going to bring my brother on right now because he ain't afraid to take his F1 minute. Will, what's going on, brother, man?
What's going on?
Nothing much, man. I'm about to start your F1 minute. You already know the routine. Make it happen.
Let's do it. So this whole entire this FIA thing, the issues with the FIA, I wanted to speak on that really quick. So this isn't something new with the FIA. If we think back to, well, we could just think back to this race in general. Hulkenberg came in for his pit stop, and they were already setting up the barriers and do a lot of kind of stuff. Apparently, that's something that they're used to doing when there's still an active race going on. But the problem is that this is not something that just happened in this race. Think back to Australia in 2022 when Albon did the same thing and he came in for a late pit stop when he tried to run his hards all the way through the race. He came in and there were VIPs being ushered through the pit lane as he came in for a pit stop. And that was something that some people kind of missed out. They missed that topic as well, that this is something that's been going on and it's a procedural issue. Clearly, they need to make sure that they're still treating this as if it's an active racetrack and not thinking as if, well, because a couple of drivers are staying out on their hard tires or whatever the situation may be, and they're not going to come into the pits, that they can start to set things up a little earlier. I think this all falls onto the fact that they're probably spending a lot of money to be at that circuit. And if they go a minute over or 2 minutes over, like a
Airline.
like a concert or something, they got to pay a lot of money to do that.
Right. Big shout out, Will. You know he's going to be back. Will brings up some very good points, and Will also couples. Y'all might see me and Will on something real soon. He kind of couples up with me on what I was going to go into. Will's always going to bring about some solid points. And this is a point that Will said, and I agree with, and that I voiced on the show. This is something that they have been very complacent with. Let's not forget that the FIA introduced a ban at the beginning of the season. Matter of fact, I believe it was before the start of the season. And that was about people being on the debris pit lane fence. There is not supposed to be any personnel at all at any time on that debris pit lane fence. And we've seen it several times. And this weekend, we saw Red Bull all over that fence and nothing was said about it. They said that this was going to be something that would be under review, that if it was done, would be sent up to the stewards for immediate action. And they said that it was something that was going to be mandatorily and have to be enforced. They have not done that. Perhaps had the FIA been more stern and more consistent with their regulations that they put in place and enforcing those regulations, this is something that possibly could have been headed off. We've seen many teams go up to the pit lane fence, even though they're not supposed to. Okay, if you have the pit lane open, there's no way personnel should be down there anywhere, any close, even on the pit lane, fast lane area at all until it's completely closed. This is the responsibility of the FIA. This is responsibility of the agents and the representatives that are on the ground that are acting on behalf of the FIA. Sylvia Kelly says, a Freak Dog says, thank you very much. You're welcome, Freak Dogs Flair. Appreciate you. Sylvia Witt Kelly says, to word it the way they did, place the blame on the driver, not their own breach of rules. And that is exactly what they did. The way they worded it, go back and watch my video. We go over the documents. We go over the articles. I like to do that so we can kind of get more educated on how Formula One are the rules and regulations that Formula One are supposed to stand on. But they don't stand very strong on it. So, no, I don't agree with it. Several people were looking at Ocon like he had done something wrong and what was he doing, an idiot this. No, he had every right to be there. Pit lane was open. That's where he should have been. That's what he did. The FIA are the ones that screwed up, and they are the ones that need to stand up, take accountability, and start being more consistent with these regulations. Perhaps this is something that we've been seeing through the course of time, especially in a pivotal moment as Abu Dhabi 2021. They've yet to do anything about that. And while we're in the midst of Felipe Massa talking about 2008 Singapore, when indeed nothing will change there for you, buddy. Nothing will change there. I did a video on that too. So let's get into our hard topics. As you see right there on our segment board, as you see right there, we're going to be talking about Ferrari. Fred was on Sky Sports during this race weekend, and he was asked about as much as what's going on with the team. And I got to say, when Fred first came into this team, I told you all it was almost similar to like what happened at the Texans. You get Lovie Smith, I believe, was the coach they brought in. And then I think they brought somebody else in. But, you know, your star quarterback is gone. Your star defensive tackle, defensive end, and TJ Watt is gone. Then your star wide receiver is shafted out the door. The probably top 5 wide receiver in the game. You bring a coach into that environment. What is he having to win with? Not for. He knows what he's trying to win for. He has the passion and determination. What have you given him to win with? I felt that Fred had kind of walked into a similar situation. Now, listen, I've already told you all, this show is about you coming on. So if you didn't see the trailer before, make sure you got a desktop or a laptop in order to access the live audience to have eligibility to do the live call-in. If you're on a tablet or a phone, you can still be in the audience. Just mute your YouTube, or you could join the YouTube family in the live chat and be there. But this is about you. Don't make this an easy evening for me. Trust me, because I'll breeze through these topics my own way, and I'll be off and on early, join an early evening, probably go wrench on some cars or do something like that. We got a kart race this weekend I got to get prepared for, so I don't mind the extra time, but I'd love to spend it with you here on F1 Minute. But Fred was found to say, and I thought when Fred said this, I said, you know what? Fred, I think you're trying to sell this, and I'm not buying. Fred made a very, how can I say it? I don't want to say it was interesting. It was an attempt to be convincing. Fred made a very convincing statement. And what he said was, now just recently, Laurent is going to be going to AlphaTauri to take up team principal roles there, I believe. I think it's team principal role. I don't think it's CEO. But either way it goes, he's leaving. All right, he's been there for 5+ years or so. Don't forget David Sanchez before him left, okay? That's their chief engineer. He's been there for at least 9 to 10 years in Scuderia at Ferrari. Don't forget about Mattia Binotto, okay? Red Bull employee of the season. He was there for over 20 years, I believe. I believe he's been there since what? 90? He might have been there pre-2000s. So he's been there, and he worked his way up. Like, he was in the engines department. Then I think he had chief technical officer, and then he went team principal. Either way it goes, Binotto worked his way through the ranks, and he was there for damn near 2 decades, I believe. And he was out the door. Fred, these are key personnel people that are directly related to race pace and affect the way that car is made up, okay? I understand Fred talking about, well, what we're talking about, what, maybe 6 people in reference to thousands that we have. Yeah, but come on, Fred. Those thousands are like your foot soldiers. These people that you just lost are like generals. You can't lose generals and not be affected in any way. So I felt he was really trying to sell that off as it's really not as bad as you all making it. We can't tell. If it's not as bad as we're making it out or as we're perceiving it, it sure doesn't show in your ability to perform on track aside from this weekend, okay? And I think it was very good that Ferrari ended up being on podium. I think it was very telling that although they kind of gave us the same look as they did, oh, Danny B, Lucky Checo. It ain't Lucky Checo yet, but we're going to let Danny B come on because Checo's going to be on our last segment, but we'll let him come on real quick and say what he got to say because F1 Minute. At least he's standing up to say something, damn it. What's up, Danny B, brother, man?
I can hold on.
Hold on, no,
you know what I'm saying?
Hold on, bro. You already represent what the Golden State had. You ready for the night, bro? You ready?
Hey, you already know I had to do this. I had to.
I'm finna give you your F1 minute, bro. I'm finna give it to you. Let's go. Let's make it happen.
I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different things that stood race, you know, like as it was just going on. You know, first of all, Alonso has not changed. That man's daddy owns that team. Right. You really think he gonna come for Lance? That's not gonna happen. So, but I just wanted to, you know, the thing about the whole Lucky thing that pissed me off. Right. You know, how as a leader of an organization do you set that precedent to where you say I'm going to openly favor one driver over another because you have mechanics and other support staff that are supporting him the same way that other people are supporting Max. So everything that they're putting into their that doesn't mean anything. It only matters when you pour it into Max. It doesn't matter when you pour it into Checo. Like they're obviously muting their celebrations and shining him on after he's won a race for them, right? Because they don't want to alter, Max's fragile ecosystem because he's such a delicate flower. He needs to be in such a delicate environment to exist.
Ooh. Ooh, brother, man. That's that F1 minute. You know you can have another when you come back. Yo, you got to think about it. And like I said, my brother hit on a topic that is on our segments. We are going to circle back around. And even if he wants to come back on, we hit that. But that is a very interesting take right there. And he's right. Christian Horner is conducting himself in a very low light way on what he did and what he said on open radio just to Max in order to kind of like pamper him. All right. We saw Max take several blows to his ego this weekend, and we also saw how he reacted to those blows. And I think that is pretty much telling of the makeup and characteristics that I've been talking about with Max. Not so much his driving ability. I've told you all this, but you all are blind or deaf to listen to this. There are two different things. There is Max's ability and talent to perform on track, and there's Max's ability to display or have integrity and good character. These are totally two separate things. And while I address one, you all try to criticize me about the other when that is not what I am talking about. But we're going to get deeper into that in a minute. Ferrari is the take right now. Scott Haley says, let's not forget Red Bull started the Stampede. And if you check, they did it to the race before check. There you go. There you go, Scott Haley. Big shout out for that super chat as well. So listen. Fred's trying to sell it off. Ferrari have been quietly kings. I don't think they've showed us anything we haven't seen yet. I think a few things that we're looking at to see from Ferrari are reliability, strategy to be strong, pit stops to be consistent and fast, and the drivers to at least eliminate as many mistakes or driver errors as they can have that will impact their own driver championship campaign. All right. Ferrari have taken a back seat. They have some picking up to do, but they have a pretty good season to do it. And if that SF23 has anything in it, I hope that it comes out soon for them because this is going to be a make or break season for them. I do believe if Ferrari don't get themselves around to the point where Shaw can only look at himself and say that was on me, just like Nick DeVries had to do this weekend, I think Shaw is out of there. I think Ferrari will lose their number one driver. And Carlos was flat as a pancake this weekend where I thought he was going to be buffed up like the race day waffles I make, and he was not. Galactica says Max Charles were in the wrong place on stage, P2, P3. Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, Shaw was sitting in Perez's seat in the cool-down room, too. I guess he just like, I'm going to be here one day. I'm going to be there. And then let's see. It's disgusting how they treat him. Checo deserved to be celebrated. It is true. We've seen several moments and evidence that are telling about Red Bull's ability to support that driver as equal as they support Max. And we've also seen it from Max's dad, which is, to me, has displayed some of the worst character in his life and things that he's done to women and things that he's done on track. Will has something to say about Ferrari, and I'm bringing him on. Where everybody at? Where y'all at? I'm trying to see where y'all at. We be having people all in the comment section trying to get all quarterly keyboard warriored up. Will, go, bro. You got it.
So this whole thing with Ferrari, they're like a leaky sieve for like the past decade as far as their personnel and losing people that are key components to their organization. Of course, the newest and latest one being Laurent Mekies leaving, but even before that, if we were to rewind the clock back, you have Giacomo Tutora. He was in Aldo Costa's role at Mercedes, so Mercedes got him. James Allison. Mercedes got him. That was from Ferrari as well. These are people that consistently, Ferrari just doesn't seem to have a grasp on some of their key personnel that might get the car right. And then once those people leave, then they have to they're kind of stuck behind the 8 ball. So I feel like maybe this is just kind of like a hot take. It probably isn't even Vasseur's decision making as far as that goes. We know Ferrari is very political. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So I feel like maybe he's just kind of stuck in that situation where this is one of those things again where they're losing key personnel. Like I said, just like Totoro back in 2020, James Allison back in 2016. This is just a revolving door of people that they should be keeping, and they just don't seem to care if these people leave or not.
Damn, Will saying something right there. Yeah, Will. Matter of fact, damn, another one, Will, another one. Okay, so I'm gonna bring Danny B on, but before Danny B talks, I'm gonna say something. Will is right. It seems like Ferrari doesn't care, and that's part of the problem. Sometimes they make these errors, and it seems like they act like they didn't make a mistake to just move on like they didn't. Danny B, I'm about to give you your F1 minute, bro. You got it. Go for it.
Yeah, no doubt. Ferrari is just hella underwhelming, like all the way around. And I think there isn't enough said about diversity within that particular organization. Because one thing that happens is when you have a monolithic, landscape, you're not bringing any external ideas to reinvigorate or bring a new perspective, right? And I'm not an F1 historian, you know what I'm saying? But Michael Schumacher and what's his name? What was the manager's name? The team principal at the time.
Was it damn John Talk? John Talk? Was it?
What?
Was
No,
it?
no, the
No.
dude that. Damn, I'm wasting my minute on goddamn
Don't
that.
worry about it, bro. Don't worry
All
about
I'm
it. Don't
saying
worry
is
about
that
that.
you know what I'm saying when you bring outside resources in, you're able to create things. You know what I'm saying? You're
Right.
able to compete. And it's just weird to me how there isn't any conversation to that. People talk about Lewis going to Ferrari. Like, do you really think that there's enough diversity there? You know what I'm saying? For him to even want to go be a part of that environment? Do you think that they even have the foundation for that? So I think that's a big part of their problem. They really need to look out and think that they instead of thinking they have all the answers.
Good one, bro. That's a true statement, and we've said this before, right? We've made these comments before. Big shout out to Uno for the super chat. Big thanks to the Twin family and Wolfpack for welcoming me. You damn right, bro. We always gonna do that. Um, and I'm gonna add to what Danny B said as far as diversity, and I'm talking more importantly, well, equally importantly, diversity of nationality. Like they haven't even been able to really do that. Like that's even been seems like it's been a struggle. Let's not then we need to roll into the ethnicity, and then we need to also roll into sexuality. Like we need to roll into all those options. Ferrari is stuck in their ways, and I don't know if they realize they've been stuck in their ways for a while and have yet to return to that great red team that they once were. And maybe they need to understand that it's time for a change. It's time for a very big shakeup, not just with Fred Vasseur. It needs to be with somebody else. Sheldon says the reason that Merck design was doomed from within. Okay, we don't have that topic on here, but Sheldon, hey, I'm gonna give you your F1 minute, brother. You can get on. Sylvia Witt just blessed Michael Dixon with a membership. What's going on, bro? I'm about to give you your F1 minute. Let me get you popping and go.
Hey Jay, so this is the internet, right? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, so this is the internet, right? So we don't have to worry about Red Bull or anybody boycotting us. We can kind of voice our theories on here. We don't have to tiptoe it around like Sky Sports or these other people, right?
Right.
So here's my theory, and it is a conspiracy theory,
Okay.
but I'm doing it based on what I'm hearing Toto say, and what
Okay.
I heard Christian Horner say, and what basically George Russell saying.
Okay.
Okay, so what we've heard is now the reason why I think Mike Elliott is he's a pretty good he's a pretty good technician, right? He knows
Right.
how to build cars, and he's getting a lot of flack for what's going on now. But however, what's he's been went going Mercedes went down that whole rabbit hole because of the incorrect data that they were getting from the sim. He wouldn't have went down that rabbit hole, and with all the people that were fired, I'm wondering if it wasn't like an inside job based on Toto's words, because he said we don't blame family, we move on, and then he fired a bunch of people the week after.
Damn,
And so
bro.
that makes me think that the people there that was given the numbers, incorrect numbers, they're technicians. Numbers kind of come with it. How would they just be given these incorrect numbers
Right.
for a whole year and nobody picked it up?
Right. Good one, bro. Good one. Feel free to come back. I'm finna address that. Listen, that he makes a very interesting statement there. Freak Dogs Flair says one of the reasons why the U.S. is such a great country is because of the immigration who bring different ideas to the table. Ferrari needs this as well. That is true in some capacity, and in some capacity, America has been horrible at integration and ideas on how to even treat their American citizens in response to certain things. So there are some good and some bad in all countries, and there are definitely some good and very bad here in America. So I will say that because I want to be fair to other countries, because it would seem that America would seem to think it's the best country ever in the world. I served it, I protect it, as well as you all in these lines and others, and I will say it has its kickbacks and it has its perks. All right. But what Sheldon said is a very interesting point. And let's hit to this. Is it possible? Now, is it possible? We're putting on tinfoil cap. My tinfoil cap's right over there, so I'm not running to get it right now. But we're putting on tinfoil cap, and we can, nobody, if they're gonna try to shut us down, do whatever they got to do. Is it possible that indeed, because we did have several personnel that left Mercedes and went to Red Bull, is it possible that somebody implemented the incorrect data into this tunnel and therefore fooled Mercedes into thinking their concept was actually going to work? That is interesting just to think about it. We know a conspiracy theory, whatever you want to call it, down the rabbit hole, it's still a very interesting nugget to just consider and think about. So with that being said, we're going to move into our next segment. Our next segment is going to be good old Aston Martin, Alonso trying to be the new big bro. Man, I'm trying to let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Alonso. It was interesting. All right, if you didn't watch the race, Stroll comes over the radio and he says, "Hey, I'm behind." He's behind Alonso. He tell Alonso, "Don't worry, I'm not going to attack." I thought that was pretty considerate. I thought that's considerate. Why? Because in every team dynamic, these drivers are highly competitive. Yes, they know they have a teammate, but they're two different sides of the garage. They have their own campaigns. They're trying to be the best them. They know a driver championship is not something that's going to be shared unless it's a historical event, right? So they're trying to go get it. So I thought that was very considerate of Stroll to say that, therefore letting Alonso know, don't waste your energy, your time, your eyeballs looking at your mirrors or anything else worrying about me. Drive and focus on what's ahead of you. You're not under attack. We're going to play the team game. I thought that was really cool. I thought it was further even more interesting that Alonso comes over the radio to tell them, share my brake bias settings with Stroll. All right. And even so, even when Stroll was talking about not attacking, Alonso said, well, he can have a go if he'd like, And this goes back to what Danny B was just saying, right? Is this Alonso turning a new leaf? Is this Alonso just kind of pampering to the point that he knows, I was brought in as this number one guy, but that's the owner's son. So let me play my cards right. And Will says, I got something to say about Alonso. And you know what I say? We on F1 Minute. So we about to go. F1 Minute, bro. Make it happen.
This is nothing new with Fernando. This was actually a topic that me and Mary were discussing. So of course I got to make sure I shout her out and get a little bit on there on the F1 Minute. Of course, Mary is like our den mom. Anyone who's in Cub Scouts and all that knows what I'm talking about. So she's like the den mom. So I got to make sure I get this in here. But she definitely thought I should have been called to the stewards over that one with the brake bias thing. I know that at some point there was definitely an error in F1 where that definitely wouldn't have been allowed to do something like that. But it made me think of some interesting things about Alonso and his radio communications, his team stuff and all that. Fernando Alonso is like the Chad of Formula One. He's definitely the Chad of Formula One. He's the dude that, like in 80s, teen shows like Saved by the Bell and all that, doesn't get called to the principal's office, gets away with everything that he does and all that. Nobody cares because they're too busy saying, that's Fernando, womp womp, stuff like that. Womp. So I feel like, I was looking at some of the stuff that he used to say over the years. We got the GP2 engine comment about his team, basically just saying like, that's just a horrible engine. Stuff like that, I remember back in, I think like 2005, he had a whole thing where he was singing We Are the Champions when he won his first championship. Freddie Mercury was probably rolling over in his grave. This dude just has they just let him get away with so many things. And this is just like one of those instances again where it's like, that's Fernando. I don't know.
Good deal, Will. Good deal. That was funny. I thought for a minute he was gonna sing that song. I thought Will was gonna sing it. I was waiting for him to kind of like bust a note. I probably would have. Danny B says more Alonso, and big shout out to Galacticus. He says Alonso got a bonus for that. So fake support. Scott Haley, Blue Diva says Alonso pretending to be Stroll's mentor, and and Scott Haley says Jay Lewis gets the car for his dream B spec car. They are building it, and it got what we asked for. First place, I can smell the eighth. Oh, he thinks he can smell the eighth world champion. I heard that, Scott Haley. Danny B, man, I'm about to give you your F1 minute, bro. Let's go, make it happen.
Yeah, I low key like Alonso. Like,
okay.
I mean, like, because he really is who we thought he was. Like, he is dirty. He's an amazing driver. Like, number one, right? And he's an amazing driver that will do anything he can to win. Anything. He doesn't give a damn. Like, he will do anything. And I appreciate how honest he is about who he is. The thing that I can't stomach is the media and how they try to make everything that this fool does that is halfway decent into some noble act. Like, he's just turned over a new leaf and now he's the ambassador for all things good. And get the out of here with all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, the point I made earlier, like, Lance Stroll is Lawrence Stroll's son. He owns the damn team. He is not gonna go. He is not gonna poke that bear. He has never driven with another teammate whose daddy owned the damn team. So this is about cunning and survival, and he's good at that. You know what I mean? So that's what we're dealing with.
Hey, Danny B, I gotta give my bro some shots for that. I gotta give him some shots for that. For real, I gotta give him another banger. Danny B hit that on the head. He's not playing, but he made some very key mentions right there. One, he is right, and I agree with him. I can appreciate looking at somebody for who they are and they show it, whether I like it or not. I can appreciate the fact that at least I know where that person stands and I know how I need to treat you, right? It's better than somebody putting on their face, then they're totally something behind that face and I'm like, oh, I'm tricked. Alonso, I know who he is. And he's also right. Alonso is an amazing driver. I don't go so far as to say great. Like, I know everybody's got different terms of great. Like, great, I don't go so far. But I also find it funny because when I was watching the race, I said to myself, and I'm going to get to the super chats, I said to myself, it's funny how they now just talk so glowing about Alonso. He's so great. Where have you been talking about Alonso through the rest of these years before he even got in the AMR 23? If he was that great, you'd still be talking about him as so. But the only thing they literally can mention about Alonso up until this point is this: the longest driving career in Formula One. They say it every GP. Every GP, they say this. We can stop saying it. We know he's going to have an attendance record up, right? Can he get another record? The other record that he's looking to try to get, and Lewis Hamilton, not that they're racing each other for it, but they're the only two that are likely to break this record right now, is two drivers being on the other side of 300 and something Grand Prix, and can they get a race win and have that record? I think it's interesting to me. I'm waiting to see this season which one of them is going to do it, if either one of them will actually do it this season. If it's not done this season, then I think it's going to start leaning in the favor of Lewis next season. Right now, I think it's more in the favor of Alonso at this point throughout this time. Now, until we see a course of development at Mercedes, right now, Alonso has the better opportunity, but Lewis has been doing a phenomenal job with a subpar car, and also George Russell, as he turns his back, walks away from Max Verstappen as he's crying in Parc Ferme about having a mirror match on track. Let's just be honest. Max ran into his own self on track. Gemini Man 2 is what you saw on track, and Max didn't like it, and he started crying about it, all right? So let's go ahead. We're going to go into this. Freak Dogs Flair says, in the super chat over on the YouTube channel, says Alonso could be playing the big brother. Alonso is older driver and may trying to pass on some experience in the cars and setups to show. He very well could be. And this is also what I will say. I'm going to read the last super chat. Will I Am says Alonso is reported to be a shareholder in Aston Martin as well. That's interesting. Now, this is what I wanted to say on the end of this segment. Unless somebody else comes in on the live, you want to call in, go ahead, hit that link. It's in the comment section. It's also pinned in the live chat. Hit that link. It will bring you over to the studio. You need a laptop or a desktop, and you can do a live call in and come in just like everybody else is to participate. This is built for you all to have a voice and a platform to talk to the Formula One culture and the world. So I will say this: what would it have been had Alonso taken that same place as more mentor or aiding with Lewis Hamilton instead of paying mechanics to tear Lewis Hamilton down, because that's what Alonso did. Alonso were passing around envelopes of money in order to promote the tearing and the sabotage of Lewis Hamilton while at McLaren. What could that team have been if Alonso would have focused on more of growing and being competitive fairly? We don't know, right? It could have been better. We don't know. Maybe Lewis would have stayed. Who knows what would have happened? But that's not what Alonso did. And it's not what Alonso has done. Now, Alonso in this moment, just like Danny B said, yo, your teammate, his daddy owns the company. His daddy got the big pockets. His daddy pays your paychecks. So, yeah, I do think there's a little grooming right there for Alonso. And Alonso's going to play the survival game so he can stay in that car, because I think he knows that this is probably his last and best opportunity to do the most of his career at this point in time, because he's been nearly 2 decades sober from a win. All right. Sylvia Witt Kelly is over there being Mrs. Claus, dropping gifts of Wolfpack Performance memberships in the chat. Tyree Bernard just got a Wolfpack membership courtesy of Sylvia Witt Kelly. We had Michael Dixon earlier get another membership. Get into the Discord. We're going to have a good time. And let's move on to our next segment, and that is the new sprint shootout format. All right. Now, certain drivers, as you see, had certain things to say about this format. Some drivers didn't really care for it. I didn't really care for the way it was set up. And Albon literally mentioned as much as I've been telling you all on this show, on several videos, on several live events. The sprint format is fouled up, and it is pretty much like taxes. All right. Billionaires and millionaires pay less taxes than we do as middle income workers, or even workers and people that make $250,000 a year. They're paying less taxes. Some of them are paying no taxes. Donald Trump literally so dirty, I think he buried his ex-wife on a golf course so he can claim it as a cemetery and get it tax-free. That's what's going on, all right? And that's in America. All right, that's in America. Let's not even talk about the some odd extra employees that the IRS employed to try to audit middle-class workers and try to get extra money. I pay taxes every year, and I always have to send them money, thousands of dollars, right? So the sprint shootout is fouled up. It's not made for the mid-tier and back drivers, and that's what it should be, because those guys are hungry, okay? Stroll said that he liked it, but he felt like he would want it to be more condensed, okay? And Stroll made some very good points during his interview during that race weekend, as well as we saw Logan Sargent and his team totally withdraw from the sprint. Now, to be fair, Logan tore that car up. He tore that FW45 up. He killed it, all right? I mean, he mangled it up. He did. Like, Logan, that's somebody's rookie pick. I need Oscar to keep on coming up. I know he in a McLaren that's sluggish as heck, but I need Oscar to outperform Logan by the end of the year. And my bro knows who I'm talking to. Inside joke. But listen, also Albon says that he didn't like it. He's not a fan of it because if you realize the point structure only goes as far as the 8th position. Well, at this point in time, you got Red Bull for sure as the top team. They're the fastest team out there. All right. Next, you got kind of like a murky debate between, is it going to be Ferrari, is it going to be Mercedes, is it going to be Aston Martin? But either way it goes, you got Red Bull for sure, and then mixed around in those next 3 spots, you got Mercedes, Aston Martin, and Ferrari. Well, those drivers and those teams are going to soak up those 8 position points. Where are the points for the other teams that are unlikely to get points? And that's why I said Formula One, FOM, Liberty Media, you need to call Wolfpack in to give you a little assistance. That's why Danny B said Ferrari is not the only people. You need to call in other people to get other decisions, other perspectives to bloom and groom this sport to become what you want it to become. You're stuck in some of your ways and you don't get it. The sprint format needs to either be the lower teams or the teams that go into the sprint. Now, this is what I like. On Friday, right? On Friday is where they should have had qualifying. Everybody can qualify if you want to. On Friday, qualifying. But the top 10 teams that qualify for 1 through 10, you're done. Your grid order is set for Sunday. You don't have to worry about it. Now, Saturday, we're going to have a sprint shootout for those 11 to 20. And then from that sprint shootout is going to decide the grid order for that 11 to 20 on later on that day. And then the finishing results of the sprint will decide the packing order from that 11 to 20. But also they're going to be able, 8 of those cars are going to be able to get points that they unlikely might not even get in an actual race. That's going to breed more competition. That's going to get teams more geared in to trying to dial these cars in and be more vicious on the track as far as competitiveness, not like hurting each other. That's what they need to do. Am I going to have to say this over and over and over again before they honestly realize and say, you know what, Wolfpack got a good idea. The Wolfpack fam got a good idea. Maybe we do need to do that. You do need to do that. You just have teams right now double dipping in the sprint. They're just double dipping. The top 4 teams are just double dipping in the sprint. That's all you got. Red Bull's going to get points. Aston Martin, Ferrari likely is going to get points. Mercedes going to get points unless something happens, and then maybe McLaren sneaks up in there, or which I doubt will sneak up. But you're not. That's not any good. That's not any good, right? We're just seeing these same teams. Danny B, for the good of the sport, he says, and he's coming on for his F1 minute. Let's go, Danny B. Let's make it happen, bro. F1 minute, go for it, bro.
Okay, baby.
I'm gonna go get my bro.
All right. You see, my daughter took up part of my minute.
No. You just hold on, brother. I'm gonna give you your full minute because you parenting. I salute that. Here you go. Start it over. Go.
Yeah. So I look at it like this. You know, a lot of times a sport is able to make a decision because as a collective, they can see what's good for the sport and agree on things that aren't necessarily going to benefit the teams that are leading the pack, but it will benefit the sport, right? Mm-hmm. But let's think about who we're talking about. We think Christian Horner gives a damn about the good of the sport? You know, or any other team principal. They don't give a damn about that. They want to win. Now I take that back. There may be some that really care about the good of the sport. But the team that's at the head of the ledger right now cares about winning above everything else. And the FIA cannot enforce anything. We talked earlier, right? The baby, you know, with the teething ring, you know what I mean? Like ever see the baby go after the teething ring? Like they ain't doing nothing to that. You know, and that's the FIA. Like you have very wealthy people in a position where the tail is clearly wagging the dog. And we can't get the things that will benefit the sport.
Good point, brother, man. Good point. That's a very good point he makes, and that just goes along. Sheldon is coming on next. Before I bring Sheldon on, Blue Diva says the sprint mess completely dulled the actual race. She was not pleased with that. I salute Blue Diva especially. Thank you very much, Queen. Let's go. Sheldon, you're coming on for your F1 minute, brother. All right, here we go.
Hey, Jay.
Hey, what's going on, brother, man? I got you
Jay.
coming on. I'm about to start your time now. Go ahead.
Jay. Yeah, so as far as the sprint, F1's just running up the bag. You know, it's extra eyeballs on the sport, an extra day. They get extra ad revenue, you know, so when it's come time to negotiate the next TV contract, you know, they can just put all those pile in and say, hey, we believe it's the value of it is this now, you know, so they just running up the bag for the next TV contract. As far as hyping out the lower tier team, you know, I went to the NASCAR race today in Dover. I'm a NASCAR fan too. And, you know, they used to do something called like an inversion. So maybe what you do is the qualifying, like you said, set for Sunday. And then you do an inversion for the sprint. So some of the lower tier teams, like the teams that only made it to Q2 and Q1, they invert to the front of the field and they get a tire advantage. And then the people that won, maybe they get to start on their qualifying tires. And the people in front get a fresh set. And at least, they, like you say, they get a chance to get some points. They get a chance maybe to fight and try to hold their position. So, you know, just something that I thought about, just going back to what they used to do in NASCAR back in the day.
Good point, bro. There are some things that can. Matter of fact, Sheldon about to get a straight gunshot right there. That would not. Matter of fact, he about to get a triple crash. That right there was on point. Listen, it's not often that somebody can bring in NASCAR terminology and it actually makes sense in order to try to bring it over to Formula One. But he's right. And we talked about inversing the grid order before as far as the sprint format. And Sheldon bringing something in from NASCAR that they do. Now, I'm not into left-hand turns and beer and NASCAR, but there are things that happen in NASCAR that definitely could be looked to bring over into Formula One. And that is one of the ideas. And we've already been talking to this as much. And I don't understand how we can come up with some of these pretty good, solid ideas. Now, I know it's not our job. We're not engineers. We don't work in the FIA. Although I'm going to apply to the FIA. I'm going to see if I can apply to the FIA for a job and get in there and try to do some good. I don't know if they're going to hire me. I don't know how good their diversity and inclusion program is, but we'll see what's up. And we got Will coming in for sprint format. Will say he want to get in on some of that. So we about to let him get in. Will, you got your F1 minute? Here you go. Go, bro.
Maybe Formula One needs to look at some of their other series to, get an idea of how they want to run like a sprint format or anything like that, because it's different in all different types of, as far as the different feeder series and all that. It changes depending on which one you look at. I mean, F2 is run differently, and F3 is run. F2 and F3 are both run differently, and even Formula Academy is run a little differently as far as how they have like reverse grids and different qualifying formats. I'm not saying that they have to stick to one of them and then say, well, we need to implement this in Formula One, but just for a perfect example, Formula Academy, which gets no coverage whatsoever, and I'll probably speak on that later.
Thank you, bro. We're
Formula
going to
Academy
speak on that.
Yeah, they have two qualifying events, but there are three races. So race one and race three are based off of how they qualify in qualify one and qualify two. Race two, the grid is reversed for the first 10 places based off of where they placed in that first race. So there's a lot of things they could do to make things a little more interesting, but the big thing with Baku was they shortened that DRS zone by 100 meters. That made a big difference. And a lot of the drivers were saying that that was definitely why they were having issues as far as overtakes and all that. So I know it's supposed to make things a little more interesting, but that also made things a little more boring.
Ooh, he used the exclamation on there with that boring right at the time clock. Bro came in. OG Zilla in the super chat over there says, also the fact you had so many rookies first time racing in Baku and only had one practice before going all out and qualifying. How many red flags did we have in Q1? Good point. No reason to risk drivers' safety for entertainment. And we've also made that point that I believe they are doing too many things for the name and sake of entertainment versus competition. I believe that if you focus on competition and solid processes, entertainment will come as a byproduct of that. If you're focused on entertainment first, then what you will have is incidents and situations that are harming to people, just like we saw this weekend when you're just focused on entertainment. You need to be focused on your processes, your regs, and implementing good things that excite good competition between the drivers and the teams, all right? Like I said, do dangerous things safely, as safe as you can. Freak Dogs Flair says, in the NFL, they have a salary cap for players. I think the FIA should have a driver salary cap instead of a budget cap. And I want to send a big shout out to the homeboy, Will. Hey, big shout out to him getting drafted by the Texans. Big shout out, Will. I wish you the best, young brother. All right, now we're going to go into the next segment because this one right here is pretty much done. It's not done because until they get it right, we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to keep voicing what we think the sprint format should look like, because I think we have a pretty good idea that would make it honestly a good one. Like, we've had some good ideas from everybody, and I think all these ideas kind of circle in the same bowl, and you put some Captain Crunch and some berries on top of that. I think we got a good bowl of cereals. Just that the FIA, they so stuck on eating like cornflakes and Raisin Bran and like the generic Cocoa Krispies. Like they need to come on over here to us and get the good bowl. We got the Lucky Charms, we got the Tricks, we got the Reese Puffs, we got all the good, the Crunch Berries without, we got all the good cereal. They need to come at the table and eat with us. Right now, the table they're eating from is bland, very vanilla, and they probably using water instead of using good almond milk, 2% whole milk. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what they're doing. So we're going to go to our last and final segment because I know this one, probably going to get hot. It's getting hot in here. Checo, the street king. Checo is the street king, and I'm going to wreck it up for him, and I'm going to give him a boom, and another one, and another one. Checo showed on this Baku circuit there is a difference between real men and boys. Checo says you scared of this circuit. You too scared to get close to that wall. You too scared to push through these nice, narrow areas. I'm not. Checo went in there like a Mexican warrior, like an Aztec. He went in there and he did his thing. Now I know Ferrari did their thing, quali and sprint, but Checo said, when I'm in the race with this RB19, I'm about to show y'all all the naysayers, all the doubters, Helmut Marko that said I was drunk off tequila, Christian Horner that can't even celebrate me the right way, Max that cries just because I win a race or have an incident at quali, all of you Haas Verstappen, you wife beating, assaulting somebody in the track, like all you naysayers, I'm finna tell you right now, I am Checo, Minister of Defense, Street King Perez, and I want to salute Checo for his winnings this weekend and what he did by stretching out and putting a gap on his teammate that people said he can't even compete with. By 2 to 4 seconds, Checo was stretching out the gap on Max. All right, so Checo's not out of this. Right now, their score is 87 to 93, I believe, is 6 points different. Checo was on a run, and I want to say, Christian Horner, what kind of leader are you to be on radio with Max and say, oh, yeah, Checo got lucky, maybe next time? That was pitiful. It shows why Max disobeyed team orders, because you support that with your mentality and your own character. Danny B coming on for his F1 minute, bro. I'm about to give it to you, so here you go. You already know how it works. Bam, you on the clock, bro. Make it happen.
Dog, my head damn near exploded when I heard him say that he got lucky. Like for real, my head almost exploded. I could not believe that he said that. Are you like, how disrespectful? Like, how utterly disrespectful can someone be towards someone who just earned you a race victory? You know what I'm saying? Like, he earned that all on merit. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, for real, next time I come around, like, Checo's my dude for the rest of the way, because that's the only hope I have against this dark force, which is Crash Stappen. You feel me? So I have to root for the thing, because Ferrari is just so it has to be Checo, right? So I'm gonna get me a sombrero, but I'm gonna get me a sombrero for real. But check this out. If I had, if we grabbing the tinfoil hat, let me ask you, you know what I'm saying? When they were in
what, Brazil?
Yeah, no, the last race that they were at.
Australia, Melbourne.
Before that.
Before that, it was going, I think it was Saudi, wasn't it?
Yeah, Saudi, when he was terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Go ahead, take your time, bro. Go ahead and get it out. I got you.
He was like, he couldn't even stay on the track.
Right.
And then in the race, I watched that race. I went back and rode with him the whole onboard. He drove brilliantly to come back, saying, I forget where he placed, but how can somebody not even stay on the damn track the day before and the day before that, and then come back and drive like that on the same track? I just don't even, the shit doesn't even make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make any sense, bro.
Good point, brother, man. Hey, he ain't, listen, Danny B ain't telling y'all nothing y'all don't already know. Y'all just don't want to look at it. Galactics, Sheldon, I'm about to get you right now. Galactic says, I bet Red Bull Racing will try to get Perez to block, then win. Ooh, Sheldon, you coming on right now, brother, man. I'm about to give you your F1 minute. All right, bro, here you go, and time starts. Go.
Yeah, so big up to Checo for real. I think you when you see Max Verstappen, and he was kind of a little bit more, a little bit nicer today into Checo after the win, and that's because I think he really was happy that he got passed up in the pit and not passed up on track. I mean, Checo was walking him down like a schoolyard bully right before that pit sequence and that caution. So he was happy that he didn't get the embarrassment of everybody seeing Checo pass. I was waiting for Checo to pass him up on track, and that was coming. Checo started clean back after he passed the clear and was walking him down like a schoolyard bully. And Verstappen, he forgot his lunch, and he saw Checo coming in the mirror. Let me just go back a little bit on what I was saying before, as far as maybe somebody was a mole in the Mercedes camp with the numbers. That can't happen. So I'm gonna just go back on that. That can't happen now, especially in the era of cost cap and stuff. I mean, if we mine that out, one team, if they wanted to put a mole in Mercedes camp, that's an extra salary that they might have to pay, and in cost cap that can't happen, right? I mean, that might cost you to I don't know, maybe go over the cost cap. So there's no team that can do that. There's no team that would actually do that and go over the cost cap. So So my
I
fault.
like it. I
My
like it. I
fault.
like it. I say, hey, see, that's what I'm talking about. That's real character integrity right there. See, and that's what people. That's why you can't be so hard to try to sit and say, we got another call from Will coming in. Will coming in hot right now. I got you, big bro. I got you. All right, let's go, Will. Make it happen, man. I got your F1 minute right now and go. Oh, Will, mic not working.
Mike's working.
There you go. Go ahead, bro. I'm gonna start your minute over. I got you. Go.
I didn't forget about that Logan Sargent thing. Listen, he's still rookie of the year in my book. He's going down as rookie of the year. Anyway, here we go. So,
all
the Checo thing, I wanted to just touch lightly on that.
Okay.
There was, throughout all the sessions, he was a lot slower in Sector 1 versus Max, and then would be able to catch up and do a better lap time by the time the lap was over. He was doing better in the 90-degree corners where Max just goes aggressive, hard through sector 1, which has a lot of those 90-degree corners. So he was able to maintain that pace and drive a good race, period, which is pretty it's unflattering to see Red Bulls, kind of not really stick behind him and realize that he had the race in the bag because he was doing better throughout all sessions because he was able to maintain his tires throughout the sprint race, practicing, qualifying, and all of that. It doesn't matter if he was faster overall than Max on softs on one lap. He was able to maintain that whole entire race pace throughout because he was able to maintain his tires through Sector 1, which is where Max was losing everything. They tried all these different setup changes. It was just because he was ruining his tires. And when Max's front right went in the final laps, that was pretty much race over. So they really should be giving him more credit for running a really good race.
Very true, bro. Very true. They got to give him credit. We got a Kenny B and a Danny B right now. We got Kenny B coming on. Before Kenny B says what he says, Uno says, Checo hasta la toro la carasa. I heard that. Kenny B, what's going on, man? I'm about to give you your F1 minute. Welcome to F1 minute. This is my first time seeing your face, and you got it. Let's go.
How you doing, man? Hey, listen, I got no sympathy for Checo, all right? What a lot of people don't understand is 2 years ago in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, when he pulled all those moves to stay in front of Lewis so that Verstappen could catch up with him, he was exceeding the fuel flow, tired his car. So Red Bull is extremely underhanded with their tactics. And a lot of people don't see all this stuff.
That's true.
So I don't have no sympathy for him because he signed the deal with the devil, and then the very next year he found out just how rotten they were.
That's true. You make a very good point, Kitty B. That ain't no lie. That is true. You got anything else? Because you got 28 seconds to still live your life, brother, right now. You can go on. Feel free to come back in if you like to, bro, because I'm about to hit on that point you just mentioned, because that is so true, it ain't even funny.
Well, they couldn't allow him to
finish it out.
For him to finish the race, so that stuff will come out on top of the radio communications between Red Bull and the race director, which didn't come out until Mercedes dropped their appeal. Okay, they were sitting there telling them to disregard the rules as far as the restart from the safety.
Hey,
and they had it on radio, and it never came out.
Hey. Don't even go, bro. I gotta give you a triple gunshot for that, bro. Hey, big shout out Kitty B, man. Let me hit on that. Kitty B he just brought some memories back. Y'all do remember Checo mysteriously got called out of that race. It wasn't for nothing. That's true. Don't forget it also happened with Max Verstappen. I can't remember which GP it was where they didn't allow him to finish because of his fuel situation. And he said, you should have just let me finish because Max just figures I could do whatever I want and get away with it. That was a very good. Kenny B came with some fire for his first time on F1 Minute. That's what I like. We got Danny B, Kenny B, Will dropping big facts, and now we got Wildcat coming in just like that. Wildcat, I'm about to give you your F1 Minute, but first let me see. Let me catch these super chats just in case. Wildcat, you got your F1 Minute, brother. Let's go.
All right, so Kenny just kind of reminded me of something, but despite the fact of that whole fuel flow situation, does Max really think he can handle Checo's defense? Lance decided not to attack Alonso. Why? Because he knows if Alonso can hold up Hamilton, and Alonso's only got 2 rings, Hamilton got 7. I'm not gonna try this man. I'm gonna just sit back and play bodyguard behind him, or try. Hence, Alonso's over here passing setup notes over to Lance. But aside from that, Max gets up behind Checo. I full well see Checo handing Max his ass. Max, when George came up around him in a place where you wouldn't normally see a pass at Baku, but guess what?
Right.
George made it work.
He did.
So why is it that Max seems to think that he is entitled to just walk away with this championship? He's not. Checo is full well within his right. And Christian Horner did say in the post race that there are no team orders. They're free to fight. So Checo, go ahead, load up the guns, and go ahead, lay them out.
Hey, that's what he said. That's what he said. And in celebration of Wildcat saying load up the guns. Damn. Listen, those last two tapes had some fire on them. But I will also talk to. Also, do not forget salute Checo, also being two-time consecutive winner at Baku, the first driver to do that there as well. And Kenny B said something very important, at least, that people should remember. There is a certain level of not, feeling sympathy for Checo because you knew who you got in bed with and you did anyway. And I think you did maybe because you felt like that was the best opportunity for you. And I can't blame you for that because now looking at the landscape at Ferrari and McLaren, I think in that aspect, Checo made the best. I just feel, Checo, you signed your contract too early, brother. You should have put the pressure on Red Bull, and you should have told them, fine, take Danny Rick. Take him. I'll go somewhere else. I'll even sit. If he can sit out a year and come back, trust me, I'll be okay. I guarantee you Red Bull would have upped that number. You could have got way more than you got. If I were your agent, I would have told you sit tight. Sit tight, bro. What are they going to do without you? Who are they going to get to replace you? Who are they going to get to replace the Minister of Defense? Who are they going to get to do what the Street King can do? Checo, by far, right now, is the best available option that they would have had. He signed too early, and he himself even said that. So anything that does happen to Checo outside of an incident or accident or something like that, never want to see that. But I'm talking about as far as his treatment within that team, he kind of put himself in it, but that still doesn't make it right. And it still doesn't mean I'm not going to address it when I see it. But, can he be right what he said? Galactica said Max did have damage. To be honest, glad Perez won. Also, Max had damage in the sprint. I don't know if he had damage elsewhere, but even if he did, we saw that Red Bull, that RB19, even with damage, can be fierce. And that's crazy if you really think about it. That right there. This is another hot episode of F1 Minute. We had a great time. People called in. I'm loving to see these new faces popping up every time we come around. Me and Will still have our ongoing thing, watching our rookies. He has Logan Sargent, even though, he picked Logan Sargent up first, but I'm going to go ahead and take Oscar Piastri, which is the child that caused all the custody dispute between Alpine and McLaren. And here we go, Will coming with the wrap up. Here you go, Will coming with the wrap up. Here he comes. I figured he was going to come up with a hot one. Here you go, brother. Matter of fact, don't even worry about it. Let's go. Let's get it.
Listen up, everybody here that's tuning into the quality.
This guy, we done lost all audio from Will. Will done got crazy. Will done lost all his audio. He don't even know his audio off. He don't even know the audio off. He going that crazy. He don't even know. That's how crazy Will going in. He done lost.
How about now?
Go ahead, Will. I got you.
Listen up, everybody. Tuning into the Quality Kickback Trivia on Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. British Standard Time. I'm coming back for my crown. Freak Dogs Flair, you better bring the heat. I'm coming back. I missed it last time. I'm not going to miss it this time. I swear when we bring it in, you better have them quick trigger fingers, because during the quality session, when Jay comes in and he tells you, ooh yeah, when he comes in and tells you, we're about to go from Q1 to Q2 and Q2 to Q3, my fingers are going to be ready. The trigger fingers are itchy. Let's get it going. Let's get it going.
Gosh, only on this show. My bro Will is too funny. Only on this show can you get this type of entertainment. Boom. Yes, Will was missing for Quality Kickback Trivia. Freak Dogs Flair being the first person to not only get a VIP box, but also get cold, hard-earned money in a Visa gift card. Got doubled up. I sent his VIP box off already. Will was missing, so I know he's feeling some kind of way about that. But I will put the schedule up for this weekend. We do have kart racing this weekend for Saturday, a doubleheader. So likely we might end up doing something a little on Friday or for free practice, and do the trivia games then. But we'll see. But yeah, this is another episode, an awesome episode of F1 Minute, the hottest live show, Formula One talk show on the planet. Nobody else is doing it like that. And it really is because of you, not me, because it's for you, not me. And I appreciate everybody coming. Remember to go ahead, get into the YouTube. We also have just kicked off our esports competition that is coming up at the end of the season. So you do have to be a member of the channel for 6 months or more. So you need to make sure that you join the channel. But we have an awesome package coming up. I'm telling you, it's going to be everything. You're going to get a Fanatec steering wheel, carbon formula wheel. You're going to get Fanatec pedals, and you're going to get the Fanatec base that is also PlayStation, Xbox ready, and for PC. There is already a video out on that. So if you want to see that video, we're going to get into deeper details as it gets closer. But somebody's going to win almost $1,500 or more of a package. Plus, we're going to have other prizes for drivers that win throughout the series. So we won't know how we're going to set up the brackets until we get all the drivers locked in. But if we end up having over 40 drivers, then we'll have to go into a bracket system, 20 by 20s, and then break it down to go into the final race. But there will be 10 races each, and we'll see how we'll set that up. So it's 6 months from the day that I launched the announcement, which came out today. So people that already joined the week before, the month before, when I started announcing it, you know you're in the green. If you're going to be on board, you need to go to YouTube, join the family, sign up, because you're going to have a green badge. I'm not going to give a giveaway to this magnitude. We have other gifts that are going to be contributed by Galacticus, Jay London, and other people, all the way from merch to honey buns to a bunch of stuff. Plus, I'm going to throw some Wolfpack swag, purple collection in the package when I send that big package off. So big salute to everybody. This has been another successful, awesome, fun episode of F1 Minute, your hottest live talk show on the planet. I'm Jay, your host from Performance Talk and Wolfpack Performance, and I am out.